Boker Tov. Shalom. Hello everybody, Brandy Bear here, and I am bringing you day 4 of my Israel trip. Okay, so this first picture, we are at Tel Dan. Tel Dan what? No, Tel Dan, well, a tel is a mountain or a mound. So Tel Dan is the Mount of Dan. And what's really, really good about this is you can see that there is just a plethora of life and flowing water, which contrasts what I showed you in the previous videos in places like Masada, where there is no water anywhere. In the next picture, here is water that's so plentiful and flowing so fast that it's actually white capping at the top. So here's a picture of our tour guide, Yehuda. I mean, I've showed him in a couple pictures, but I've never actually showed him, so here's what he looks like. Here's a bit more of the plant life, there's water everywhere, plants everywhere. This next little thing this apparently was part of an Israeli bunker during a war between them and the Palestinians. And then this little metal thing here that you see is apparently a trench from that same war. Then here is some of the excavation from Tel Dan. So they're finding the walls and everything. Then here is Professor Jonathan Greer. He is the person that put this all together. He's the one that's doing the lectures. Right now, what he's holding is what he calls the yardstick of time, and he has essentially this biblical timeline on it, and that correlates, um, you know, different books of the Bible and different time periods with like Iron Age and Iron Age 2 and Byzantine time and Roman times. So he's explaining to us about time. Okay, this is really cool. And then if you can see, there's Jonathan Greer giving us a little lecture behind this little metal box. But this metal box here is believed to be the size of a sacrificial altar. For those of you who have read Leviticus and Deuteronomy, you probably know that they had to sacrifice animals on an altar. This is, they mapped everything out here. They figured out, they found like one of these little horn things at the top. I mean, it's not an actual horn, but these little metal horn things. They found the actual stone of it. So they mapped out the area. They took the measurement of the stone. They looked at the Bible, and then they figured this was the size of the sacrificial altar. Which before seeing this, I always thought it would be a lot smaller, but no. So they would actually. This is the size of it. And that's really amazing to me. And you can kind of see some steps that they would actually have to go up and down the altar. And I didn't really catch on to that until I saw this. But yeah, they actually had to walk up and down the altar. The Bible even says for them to go upstairs to get to the animal sacrifice place. Here are said steps. Then here is a close-up of some olive wood. I really think that the olive wood looks cool. And I don't know what it is. It almost it looks like it's burned, but it's not. It almost looks like Freddy Krueger's skin is what it reminds me of. And I don't know why, but that it just looks really cool to me. So here are the walls around Tel Dan. And just to give you an idea, this is me rocking my, frog tog rain suit, leaning up against the tallest point of the wall. It was very, very secure, very sought after, and to the point where even in modern wars, they use this as territory. So this is part of the top of some structure at Caesarea Philippi. So this is a cave at Caesarea Philippi. So these little archways in the rock, these are actually supposed to be where idols go, because Caesarea Philippi was actually very pagan. Then here is a column. Here's some Israeli farmland. They are growing oranges, I think is what my tour guide says. But yeah, so there's some farmland here. So we went to a restaurant, and this was at the bathroom, and I just had to take a picture of it because have any of you ever seen the band The Gorillaz? For those of you who have, this, with the blue hair and the facial structure and just how thin he is and everything, this looks to me like the cartoon for the lead singer of The Gorillaz. And I just thought it was really, really funny. And here is me about to chow down on some falafel. Um, of course, this is a picture, again, where somebody thought I was Jewish, and I had to take another picture of it. These are some palm trees against the sky. There were lots of palm trees there, because palm trees are actually signified as like some like Jewish symbol of like royalty and prosperity or something. I don't remember exactly what they stand for, but if you've ever seen a nativity like ornament or something and had a palm tree in front, it's very important in Jewish tradition, and it's a very important sign for there to be palm trees. I always thought it was weird because I always associated palm trees with like Florida and the Bahamas and stuff. I never would have thought to see palm trees in Israel, but well, whatever. So obviously the next place we went is Capernaum, which is as labeled the town of Jesus because Jesus went to Capernaum. So this is a statue of St. Peter. Then here is the picture of the Sea of Galilee from Capernaum. Then here's a little lecture spot that we had, so I took a picture of the cross. Then here is some of the ruins and remains that have been excavated at Capernaum. Then here we are, we're going into a synagogue or temple. This actually is synagogue. So here we are in the synagogue. And the cool thing about this is that there's lots of biblical stories where Jesus is preaching to the Pharisees and rabbis and everything. And these happen in Capernaum. This is the original synagogue of that time, which means that Jesus was stood somewhere in this same synagogue. So here's a column. Here's a column with some Greek on it. Here's this double jointed column, which seem to be always at the corners of anytime two walls meet and they have a column lining. This is at the corner. So here's a stone carving, but if you look closely, you can see that there's a menorah on it, which is the candle stand that holds 7 candles. Then this would have been at the top of the synagogue, and it has grape leaves and a grape tree. Then here is another carving, and as you can see in the top, there is also another menorah, and this one has a 3-leg stand. This is apparently very, very famous. This is apparently what the menorah is supposed to be. Okay, so here we are at Magdala, the city of Mary Magdalene. This is a painting of the hemorrhaging woman touching Jesus' robe. And then this is the original stone from Jesus' time. So, for those of you who followed the Bible story, Jesus did get off the boat and then go into Magdala. So this was the center that we went to was right by the shore of Galilee, and they were able to excavate and find the boundaries of the port and everything. So they found out how much space was there, they excavated it, they built a center around it. So this is, we can't say exactly which block it was, but this is the street that Jesus walked on. So here's some mosaic. This is not original mosaic. The center was built on top of Magdala, so this is a newer center that was made in, 1900s. But I think I talked about this in a previous video, but I'm going to talk about it again. what I think is really, really interesting is I keep seeing this design. This design is like, it was all over the place, so I'm wondering the like particular importance of it, or if it's just really popular. But as you can notice, there's these little like blocks with these red blocks on the inside, but then in between those two, there's these swastikas. And what I'm pretty sure I said in one of the previous videos was that we always associate swastikas with bad things, and we associate it with like Nazis and neo-Nazis and death and all that. But in the time of Jesus and in the time, like in Jewish tradition, swastikas, as you can tell, they were actually fairly common in design. There is a belief that the swastikas are supposed to bring together the four corners of the universe, or they're supposed to bring peace. I don't remember exactly what the swastika stands for, but I just think it's so interesting to see a swastika design in Jewish architecture. You know, now, since I was born post World War II. So here is an artist's rendition of Jesus curing Mary Magdalene and forcing the demons out of her. Then here's a carving that they found. It has these little 6 petals. As you can see, it sort of forms like a 6-pointed star. It's not the Star of David, but these 6 petals, there's something symbolic about them. I see that architecture a lot too. And then here's just a little bit of the remains, the church that they believe it was a church is what they're excavating here in Magdala. All right, so this next picture, we're back at where the hotel is in Nov Ginosar Kibbutz, and my friend found a little bit of a pier, and we went out onto it at night. So this is us looking at the city from the pier at night. My bachelor's degree was in American history with a focus on urban development and industrialization. So there's something about seeing city lights at night that's just really, it just gets me. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the progression of human society that we are able to have something that looks like this, like the city lights and the just hundreds of individual little bulbs, mark the existence of this city across a dark night sky. I don't know what it is, but it's just so symbolic and interesting to me. And so here's a picture of the pier at night. But I went back in the morning, so here it is during the day. And then this is a picture of the city that I took a picture of before. This is it during the day when it's light outside, so you can't see the city lights. And of course, this is over the Sea of Galilee. This spot was so awesome. So they have these, as you can see, they obviously have these little benches, but it's benches where you're looking over a flowing sea, and there's a little bit of a seashore that's behind you, so you can hear the waves crashing, you can hear birds chirping, you can hear like the waves moving and everything. You can see the clouds, you can feel the sea because the wind goes off of the sea, so you get sort of like a, not a lake effect, but sea effect, I guess. So you feel the breeze, you can see a city, and just at night, this was like the ideal place for me. Like if I could go somewhere to just sit and think about life, this is where I would always go. It was so peaceful. It was peaceful beyond description. Then here's a picture of the shore. And then here's a picture of the sun peeking through the clouds off the Sea of Galilee. Okay, and then since it was the Sea of Galilee, I thought it was really funny that we saw fishermen, because for obvious reasons. So I took a picture of these 2 fishermen out on the Sea of Galilee. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, liked the pictures, liked the commentary, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will be bringing you part 5 of part 8 coming up next. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, I'm going to put the links in the description below. I hope to see you in the next one.